Good morning. Hey Wyatt, how are you doing? Good to have you with us, Wyatt. Welcome to see you from Nigeria. Good to see you. Let me see, we should be streaming okay. Good. Everything seems to be working. I guess you guys can see me okay and hear me all right. Super. Let's do that a bit. Okay. Alrighty. Hope you're all well. And thanks for that, Jimmy. How are you doing? Hey, Ju Marinas. Good morning. How are you doing? We're just going to wait a minute or two before we get started. And just wanted to again remind everyone, I had a couple of friends message me overnight, letting me know that there were some accounts reaching out to them through fake accounts using my name and my face and my info through Instagram, through Telegram, through all kinds of social media. So please beware. A lot of the times, most of the time, I'm not going to be reaching out to anyone. I don't sit around randomly messaging people. So please be aware, extra aware, if you come across any profile that is using my name or my face, please either check back with me or straight away report it straight away. Okay, so just wanted to remind everyone about that. Crucially important, I mean. So again, if you are new to the session, we have Clint with us, new to the session. If you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I love to find out. And for all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you again for joining me on this daily market analysis. Good morning, Nav. How are you doing? Good news, bad news. Good news is that we're back on a daily analysis. Bad news is that markets has not moved terribly much since yesterday. Trading wise, haven't entered any trades. Been super quiet yesterday and today. We have someone asking in the Discord channel as well. The Discord link is there. If you haven't joined us, do make sure you join. But someone was asking in the Discord channel, it's so quiet, what's happening? Market's quiet, so I don't think we have a lot to ramble and banter about. So let's hope that tonight with the Bank of England and their interest rate decision, well, they're not going to change rates, but with the way they're voting might bring about some liquidity and volatility back into the markets. All right, I'm getting bored looking at prices move right across, so I want to see what happens. And my coffee just arrived, so there we go. All right, so let's hope that we see a bit more action in the markets today and hopefully tomorrow. Or hey, this week might end up being a little bit of a break, a slow week, but I'm sure it is the FX market. I'm sure liquidity and volatility will come back into play. Right? Not unusual to see quiet periods. Just have to stay disciplined, wait for the setups, and when it comes, check, make sure it's a good setup, then get into it. All right. Good morning, Junkie. How are you doing? Hey, Diana. Good to see you again. Hey, Kaylin Lazar from Netherlands. Good to see you. Welcome to the session. If you haven't already, do make sure you join the Discord channel. Hey, good morning, Stefan and Christina. Good to see you. Good afternoon and good morning to most of you guys. What else do I have to say? Oh, if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. Okay, that would help massively. That would hopefully get more people onto the live streams. We've got 3 new names today, so I'm really quite happy about that. Hope to get 30 new names coming up soon. All right. Glad to be here. It's kind of my routine. It is my routine as well. I mean, I've had many people ask me like, oh, how do you do this every day at 3 o'clock? It's become a routine. We've done this for more than a year now. I did it for a very long time before, stopped for a while, now back into the routine. So it's good to do this. I just want to ask as well before we get started. I know Diana's in the UAE. Anyone else in the UAE? Anyone else in the UAE who's watching right now? Put it into the chat and let me know. I'm planning an event on the 8th and the 9th of June. On the 8th and the 9th of June in the UAE, in Dubai in particular. So I look forward to seeing more people like yourselves joining me at my event on the 8th and the 9th of June coming up in about a month's time. Right? So if you are in the UAE, if you're watching and you're in the UAE, or if you know someone in the UAE who is trading or might be interested in trading, do let them know about the channel. I will be sharing more information about that coming up very shortly. Okay, now let's get into it. A quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Now, okay, Diana just said, oh man, Diana, I won't get to catch up with Diana. Diana's going to be away in June. You're going to miss it. It's okay. Once the first one is done, I will be back doing more. So you might miss the first one, but I'm sure you catch on to the others. Not a worry. But anyone else who is going to be in the area, it is confirmed. It is confirmed on the. It's as confirmed unless something crazy happens, but it's pretty much confirmed on the 8th and the 9th of June. I'll send out details, especially in the Discord channel, to you guys shortly, soon. Okay. What has happened? Okay, I think we were just having that joke here in the office just then. I think today is going to be a short and sharp session, because what has happened since last night, not a whole bunch. What has happened today, not a whole bunch as well. The Swiss, the French, and the Germans are on a holiday, right? We did see, I was telling you all about this with the yen, expecting a little bit of a move on the yen. We did see the yen push up slightly, but nothing to shout out about. All the focus from yesterday or the day before, even the day before yesterday and today, all the focus is down to the BOE, the pound dollar. At 7 p.m. GMT +8, we will have the BOE with their interest rate decision release. MPC bank official bank rate votes and the official bank rate. Not expecting any changes in the bank rates. It is almost a certainty that they're going to keep it on hold at 5.25%. It's going to stay at 5.25. But the focus is going to be down to the way they are voting. I have been talking about this through the week already, so I'm going to sound a little bit like repeating, but we're looking at it going to go from a 0-1-8, which is 0 members voting to increase rates, 1 member voting to decrease rates, and 8 members voting to hold rates. So we've gone from 1 member looking to decrease to expecting to go to a 0-0-9, which is all 9 members from the Bank of England voting to keep rates on hold. All right, so moving 1 away from decrease. Decrease, if more members were voting to decrease rates, firstly we'll see the rate cut and also we were likely to see a weakness in the pound dollar, right? So if we see one member moving away from cutting rates to keeping rates on hold, theoretically, or based on what we expect, would be to see the pound dollar strengthen slightly, given that all 9 members would be voting to keep rates on hold at 5.25%. Okay, I'm not expecting a 100 pip kind of move, right? This is on the 21st of March. We'll go to that one and show you the example. Where are we? Let me see, 21st of March. Oh, that's April. Oh wait, that's still April. Okay, there. 21st of March there. Okay, let's zoom in a bit on that. Right, so that was at the release. So we saw the pound dollar push up. This is way back. This is 1 month back on 21st of March. We saw the pound dollar push up at the release at 7. This is at 7, so 7, 8 o'clock. I think that was daylight saving. 7, 8 o'clock, we saw on the release, it went from a 216. It went from 2 members voting to increase, 1 member voting to cut, and 6 members voting to hold, to a 018, which is no one voting to no one voting to increase rates, 1 member voting to decrease, and 8 members voting to hold. So it went away from the increase to more of holding, which led to that downward push, right? It went to a move of, well, within the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. By the time I got to end of the night, it was a good 100 pip move to the downside there on the pound dollar, just because we had 2 members moving from well, not the same 2 members, but I don't know which 2 members were voting to increase rates. 2 members voting to increase rates, switching over to holding rates, right? So from that hawkish view of increasing down to holding rates, we saw the pound dollar move down 100 pips. With what we have now, what we have at this current point in time, the pound dollar has been pretty much consolidating just below that 1.25 level, between 1.2470 and 1.25, a 30 pip move pretty much for since yesterday, right? A 30 pip move since yesterday. If we do see, well, most likely we're going to see rates go, voting go from 0.18 to 0.09, then we might see a bit of a push up on the pound dollar. I'm not expecting a 100 pip move, but a slight move quite similar to what we're seeing here. Okay, so I'll tell you more about that shortly when we look at the charts more in detail. That's the Bank of England rates decision and voting that we're going to pay attention to later tonight. At 7:30 we have Governor Bailey speaking, which is from the Bank of England press conference. Typically after the rate decision, he doesn't say that much, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. We do have US unemployment claims to be released. Not too particular about that because that is a weekly number. And then we have Governor McCallum speaking from the BOC, the Bank of Canada, at a press conference about the financial systems review. Again, not too worried about that. Okay, so main thing to look out for today will be on the pound dollar. I will touch on the, I don't think I have that much to talk about, so I'll touch upon to the euro pound and the pound yen as well. Just wanted to tell you as well is that on Friday we do have the pound GDP number to be released, likely to stay the same, with Canadian employment numbers to be released. One thing that I'll highlight to you all is that we might not have a lot of trades this week, right? I think I had 1 or 2 trades only this week. 1 or 2 trades I had I think I had the Aussie or Kiwi and the pound. So I only had 2 trades this week. I think I did a quick one on the yen as well. Can't remember, but 1 or 2 trades this week. Might not be a big intensive week, but what you notice is that next week, I know I'm looking a little bit too early into next week. It's too early to look into next week, but I just wanted to tell you guys, don't try and force. If there's no trades, don't try and force it out, because next week we do have employment numbers to come from the UK. More importantly is that we have the PPI numbers to come. We have US CPI numbers to come next week as well, right? And that's likely to bring about that liquidity and volatility that we expect, because on the last time round, on the 10th of April, when it went from 3.2 to 3.5, we saw very big moves right across the board. And then we have Aussie employment numbers through to Friday. We have not much else. Okay, so we do have US CPI numbers to be released, PPI numbers to be released, Chair Powell to be speaking at the... I'm not going to do too much. So there are news that we can look forward to next week. Don't feel like you have to force any trades now if it's not the setup that it's not the most ideal setup. But for today, we do have the Bank of England with their interest rate decision. Okay, enough rambling for that. Now looking at the charts. Hey Christopher, good morning. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm just catching up on my coffee. That's my second one today. All right, dollar index. Take that away. Well, this is where we were yesterday. Right, this is where we were yesterday on the dollar index. It was consolidating. It was at 105.50, and we said if it pushed up higher to 105.80, beyond that we could see 106.10. It pretty much sat in that consolidation. It sat between 105.45 and 105.60. In that range, relatively tight range. Only now, just at this hour, the hour before, started looking like it's pushing up. I would maintain this same view, right? I would maintain this same view. 2 reasons, or multiple reasons, is because of that upward trend line is still holding prices up, right? It's that support, resistance to support level is holding prices up, and that trend line is holding prices up. So I'll maintain that view, but what I think could happen is that we're likely to see the dollar index push up, test 105.80, test the trend line again before going up, like that. Right? Why do I think so? Is yes, it is in that consolidation like that, looking for a breakout to that 61.8 level, right, to the upside. Most likely, or possibly, by the time it gets up there, Bank of England with their interest rate decision, we could see a brief move to the upside on the pound dollar, which could bring the dollar index down slightly, and then after that a continuation back up. So I'm thinking that that slight downward move could be because of some strength on the pound. If we see pound strengthen, we might see the euro strengthen as well slightly, so retrace before pushing back up. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. I'll put that into a write-up shortly. Diana says too much coffee. I used to have a lot more. I used to be on like 4 or 5 coffees a day. So I've tapered it all the way down. I go a max of 3 every day now. Max of 3. Okay, so 9th of May, dollar index. I'm still looking for it to... Okay, I'm looking for it to break out of consolidation. I'm looking for it to push up to 105.80. I'm thinking that it could retest trend line. Then after that, rise to 106.10. I know I'm trying to predict a bit too much, thinking that it's going to go up and come down, and that's a three-step move, up, down, and up again. But let's see if that's going to play out. Okay, so generally, still looking for dollar strength to come back into play. A bit less so on the pound, but generally for most of the other pairs, looking for the dollar strength to come back into play. So now with that, looking at the Kiwi dollar, that setup still maintains, right? If you were the aggressive ones and you saw it go up now, so it took a lot longer than we expected. It sat there in consolidation, very similar to the dollar index. It did, so yesterday we were saying it's going to push up, test the trend line, and trade back down. It took longer. It only came up to the trend line early this morning, tested, and looks like it's pushing back down now. Right? Looks like it's pushing back down now. If you did get into that trade at 0.6 with a 20 pip stop and a 60 pip take, might be worth holding. Right, might be worth holding. But if you didn't get into that trade, then I would say don't rush in yet. Don't feel like you have to rush in yet. Looking at that trend line, holding, we're seeing this pushback, so I'm looking for it to test again. I don't think that, if you didn't get into it yet, I don't think it's worth looking for that move again. All right, I don't think it'll be that. I think now it will be a time to be a bit more conservative and look for it to break that 5980 level. So 5975, stop loss, no more than 20. No more than 20. Take profit will be down to 40 pips again. Right down to this level. So if it stays below this trend line, look for it to break that 38.2 level. 5975, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. I have it there. Stop loss 5975, stop loss 15, take profit 30. Revise that slightly, 20 to 40 to the downside. Then onto the Aussie. Right, if you did that on the Aussie, it would have come down, gone back up, and hit your stop loss. Just hit your stop loss. There would be a 20 pip loss. That would be a 20 pip loss. Unfortunately, it did come down. Looked like it was going to break lower, but then it shot back up. Okay, so sometimes we do have losses on our trade setups. That is not uncommon. Now looking at this, it is sitting in that kind of consolidation as well. What you want to do is look for it to break out. I'm thinking whether it's worth trying to think of a buy up. Actually, maybe. If we're looking to sell the Kiwi down, I wouldn't be so keen on that now. I'm just going to cover what if the dollar breaks this to the downside. A bit unlikely, but what if it breaks to the downside? I'm considering the idea that it could be looking at 6595, stop loss 30, take profit 50, 60 to the upside. Let me just check that. It will be breaking above that 38.2 level. Something to consider. I kind of like that a bit better than trying to sell down. I think it's just too skinny to sell down from here. You'd have a 30 pip, and then you would have like 30 pips. Not the, I mean, you can still do it, but I think that it would be better on the Kiwi. So I'll be looking for this as an alternate scenario for the Aussie dollar. Right, there we go. 6595, 30 pip stop, 60 pip take to the upside. All right, alternate scenario, we're looking to buy at 0.65965 to 30 to 60. Okay, 6595, stop loss 30, take profit 60. We're looking at this if DXY weakens. There we go. Then now onto the yen, right? I was sitting there, I was contemplating, right? So I put this in, right? Yesterday we said that we want to see it, we could see it trade up to this level at 156 and look for a reaction there. I put in this right after our session. Right, this was our session here. Right after our session, I saw it pushing up, and I thought, would this be something to trade up to? I didn't end up getting into that trade because it's right in the middle, and I wasn't very happy with my stop loss being there. So I didn't get into that trade, but I left it there to check to see what could have happened. It would have been in the profit. It would have been about a 40 pip profit right now. Didn't get into that. So take that away. Okay, now looking at this, that inverted head and shoulder is looking very good now, isn't it? Okay, we're looking at this continuing to push up. I would be thinking now, if it breaks above 156, if it breaks above 156, I don't think it'll be there straight away. I think it slowed down quite a bit on the yen. But what I would be looking for on the yen would be if it breaks above 156, then 156.25, stop loss just below 156, about 30 pips, take profit, you get up to that 70 pips towards 157, right, for that continuation to the upside. That would be what I would look for as it breaks above those points. So on the yen, I'll be looking to buy at 156.25, stop loss 30, and take profit 70 to the upside. 70 to the upside. Especially if the dollar index does push up, we're going to see this continue. I kind of like that a bit better than the one I was highlighting earlier, right, from yesterday, is because this way at least my stop loss at 155.94 would have that round number level of 156 holding it, right, especially if it breaks past that point. So that's why I like it a little bit more to the upside. Let me think. That's fine. I would say that's a resistance as well, and that's an interim level. Okay, good. Now then on to the pound dollar. All right, pound dollar bounced off. If I move that right across, this is where we were yesterday. If I move that right across, what you notice is that although it would look like it should have gone, it did not come down and bounce back up. It did not come down to bounce, it just went up, came down slightly, and it continued in that region. So that trade would not have triggered, but I like how it's moving right now. Again, that dollar index pushing up. We're seeing the pound dollar coming back down. Again, I'm repeating the same thing because that's the way the market has been. It's reacted, 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 and came close to this point here, right? To this 1.2465 level, this 50% retracement level. So what I kind of want to see is for it to come down, test, and bounce back up. Very similar. In this case, what I'll be looking for would be 1.2475, stop loss tight, 15, take profit 60 pips to the upside. I like it even if it goes further beyond that and comes back up. All right, and yeah, it looks like it might come down here, grab something, pardon the wrong terms, or grab some liquidity and then come back up. I think that might be a possibility. And then because of expecting the pound or the BOE to vote the way they're voting, they're expected to vote, we might see a brief move to the upside on the pound dollar. Right. Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay, 1.2475, stop loss 15, take profit 60. Oh, there we have it. We have the same thing. Buy 1.2475, stop loss, you could do 20, you could do 15. We can keep it at 20 and take profit at 60, so we can keep that at 20. All right. Okay. Then on to the euro, right? And like I was telling you right at the start, might be a short and sharp session because everything seems to be the same setup. On the alternate scenario, right? If this is not a given, right? This is a given, but this voting is not a given. And the results or the impact of the way they vote is also not a given. So that might actually still lead to the pound dollar weakening, which you wouldn't be entering this trade, but then I'll be looking to sell the euro down, right? 1.0720, stop loss 20, take profit 40 would still be a reasonable move to the downside. So sell 1.0720, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside for the euro would still be a valid setup that we'll be looking for. And I kind of like that as well. If not for the pound or dollar, I would like that setup a lot more. Then the US Swiss franc consolidating even more than the dollar index. Take that away. So it's been consolidating in this level. I think that with the way it's moving or consolidating, you could look for it to break out of this area, right? Look for it to break out of this area. It's only been 907 or 9080, 9095. It's only been a 15 pip consolidation. All right, so we could be looking for it to break out 9105, stop loss 30, take profit about 40 pips to the upside. Could be a very short, quick trade here as it breaks out to the upside. I'm actually thinking that maybe we could even consider 9-1 as a breakout. Stop loss 20, take profit 40. There we go. I kind of like that a bit more. So you want to see it break out. Once it breaks, it's been consolidating. It's been consolidating since Wednesday for the whole day, moving right across. So if it breaks out, we might see it spike out and then maybe come back in, or spike out and continue up. So I kind of want to see that kind of move. Taking orders to run up. Yeah, it looks like it. So 9-1. Accumulation, consolidation, accumulation, kind of sounds the same thing, kind of makes sense. Yeah, so I'm looking for that to accumulate, consolidate while accumulating, and that breakout to spike up. So 9-1, 20 to 40. All right, there we go. Buy 0.91, stop loss 20, take profit 40. We're looking for it to break out of consolidation. There we go. Then onto the USCAD. We were looking for it to test, form a double top, and then reject to sell down. Did not go up to our level. It sat there and then push down. Right? So take that away. That did not trigger. Dinah saying, don't think that will happen today. I think it might. I think it might, especially if we do see this push is pushing now. Especially if we see this push up, we might see that break out. Especially later tonight. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then, hey Lingopedia, how are you doing? Onto the US CAD, onto the Loonie. With that, we've broken 23. We're seeing this area here. I hope so. So that is like saying, can the BOE add some volatility? I'm expecting so. I'm expecting so. So we're looking at that area there, holding. It's sitting in that area, consolidating. So it's all been consolidating, not doing too much. I don't have anything on the US CAD. I'm seeing it sit there, right? And as much as that seems to be pushing up, that's still trying to come back down a bit. No major news here. No major news on the CAD. We have gas storage to increase. Natural gas storage increase, expected to increase from 59 to 87. Increasing storage would be oversupply. Oversupply could cause a move to the downside on oil, which could lead the US CAD to, should push up, it should weaken to go up. But I don't see it happening. I would still say do nothing on the CAD. I want to see it test that resistance level. Yeah, oil is weak. Oil is weak because of a oversupply issue. All right, but yet we're seeing the price push up. So we spoke about this yesterday. Did not break down. It found that support and pushed up. So that kind of went against it, and maybe that push up led to that coming down and sitting along this level. I'm actually thinking now, what I'm deliberating between is whether it's going to go up to that resistance and then turn, so whether it's going to go up to that resistance and then turn down, or Could we see it consolidate, break lower, and then bounce back up? And I'm actually thinking this sounds terrible, but I'm actually thinking it could do either. It could really do either. US oil did not break that support. In fact, it bounced back up. I think oil rises on US crude storage draw. With the news coming out later, it might push it back down again. It's still rising. If we look at this whole move, 38.2 is right there. At that point, yes, I can. Hang on a second. Look at that. Test might push back down. So USCAD, it really could go anywhere. I wouldn't do anything on the CAD right now. I wouldn't do anything on the CAD. Stay out. Watch and wait. I don't know. I couldn't make even a best guess on CAD. I'm seeing the dollar push up right now, so I'm just going to quickly scroll through and look at the setups. Look, dollar is moving relatively a lot, breaking out that area, but we're not seeing any major moves apart from pound coming down, euro coming down. I kind of like that setup. Sweezy is still sitting there, Looney is still sitting there. So not much to shout about at this point. Looking at the euro pound, clear out some of these lines, it's old. All right, I think that if we see this, if you look at this move on the euro pound, right, you see that we have this point here at 23.6, which is a very close support. We have that big resistance up here, right, and we have this point down here. So I like to consider that as the support. So that's my dotted line down there, right, and one more point here. That's my dotted line. So now when I'm looking at this, thinking that the euro, right, could come down, the euro could come down, looks like it's on the way. The pound dollar could sit there and bounce back up. So we might see a bit of strength on the pound. I'm thinking that the euro pound, given that it's been climbing up quite steadily, we might be seeing a bit of a potential reversal back down. Right, euro weakening could bring it back down. Pound, some pound strength could bring it back down as well. Sitting along that level, the tight move would be, that's very small. That's only 10 pips, right? So what you could be looking for is if it breaks that support, we could be looking for a bit of a further downside. 8580. Stop loss, you can keep your stop very tight, or even 20 pips there would be very generous. You could be looking for that move down 20 or that 50 pip move back down. I don't think there's going to be that big a move unless we really see the euro drop and the pound shoot up. Then we're going to see that kind of move, right? But that's something to watch out for. And once the euro pound wants to move, it kind of has a good momentum. So with that, then we look at the pound yen as well. Pound yen, we spoke about this yesterday. Waiting for it to push up to test that level. It's just set right across. It's just set right across. Hasn't done anything at all. Now at this point, take all these away for now. Clear out the charts. It's sitting in consolidation. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that if the pound does push up, it could push this up, but what might be interesting is on the flip side. So like, look at this. If we're thinking the pound could push up, we could trade the pound up. if the pound drops, you might want to sell it down, or you could be looking at the pound yen as an alternate scenario. Then you could be looking at below 9.4, stop loss. You could be looking at 50, take profit. You gotta close 190 pips to 100 pips to the downside. All right, I'll be looking at maybe selling the pound yen down if we see that pound weakness come back in, just because it's been sitting at this level, refusing to drop. So I'll be looking at 9410, 40 pips, 100 pips to the downside, that kind of move. Pound Aussie. So before that, gold is about to break out or break down the triangle. We'll have a look at that shortly. If we look to short euro, good to look at euro pound. Yes. But wait till the euro pound. I'll wait till the end of the. I'll wait till the Bank of England news as well. Okay. Aussie pound Aussie broke lower, consolidating, very low point. Let me just go to H4 so I can draw my lines a bit easier. Finding this point here. The main question on the pound Aussie is, would it bounce or would it drop further? Now back to the H1. It's in that consolidation, looking at this point here. Okay, so now looking at this, it's come up to about that 23.6 level, bounced around, breaking lower, pound could drop. I would say for this, it's pushing lower now because we are seeing the pound dollar push lower, right? But if it does come around that the pound dollar bounces, then it could come down here and bounce off this support. So I would wait to see a reaction at this support level, right? And then you could have your buying opportunity 1.8970. I don't see that. I see 60 pips, 30 pip stop that way. Or you could look for it to break down 1.8920, stop loss 40, take profit in the middle there, so about 80 pips to the downside. I'll look for reaction at that point. Wouldn't rush in yet, still look for the Bank of England rate decision. Then I will decide or look for that reaction on that possible straddle. Okay? But it's interesting that it's been sitting right across, relatively wide range, but sitting right across since last week. Finding that support quite strong. So it might actually look for that kind of bounce. Then with that, looking at gold, right? Yesterday we were saying needs to break 2308 to 2290. It got down to about 2305 and then bounced back up. I would say the same thing now, 2308 to 2390. But it's in that range. I would actually think that I don't see the break down the triangle. I don't see the triangle unless you're talking about that triangle. Okay, there we go. breakdown from triangle, yes. So 2308 to 2300 would be that first move we're looking for. I think that, and then the next point would be 2290. Okay, so same thing, 2308 to 2300. Beyond that could reach 2290. Alrighty. I would even go a little bit lower at that and say 2305. Just because that's where it bounced yesterday. So we wanted to break past that point before we're going to think that it's going to hit lower. Quick check on the others, nothing happening there, still in consolidation, still sitting there. Pound bounced back up slightly. Euro holding at that support, that's still in consolidation, that's still sitting there. How to know a fake break? Don't consider it as one price or one level. Think of it as an area, and then wait for the candle to close out of the area before you try to get into the trade. And then also in the scheme of things, you can also use your Bollinger Band. You know, once it's outside of the Bollinger, like in this case, it broke out. We say that it was like if you push lower, it's outside the Bollinger, so most likely we're going to see it come back into the band again. All right, so kind of those are, for me, those are the indications to tell me when it's likely to come back in, and it could be a fake. So that would break out, right? As much as we say below 2308, we look to trade it down. But if it breaks out 2308 and it's outside the Bollinger, then I would say I'm not going to get into a trade because I know the next move is more likely to come back in. And for it to come back in, I don't know whether it's going to go back up all the way or turn back down again. So I would stay out and miss that move, considering it as a fake break. And you see it happen over and over and over again. Many times. Bollinger Bands, my best friends. All right. So with that, again, not much happening right now. Don't feel like you have to rush into any particular trades. Look for the setup, wait for the setup, stay disciplined, trade well, trade safe, chat, ask questions, share your trade ideas in the Discord channel, and then let's trade the Bank of England carefully later on, but looking forward into next week already. Take care now. Thanks, Jimmy. Bye-bye.